How you follow up with inbound quotes and requests from customers can make or break how much money you make in your home service or contracting business. In this video, I'm going to go over the exact text and call sequence that you should have in your home service or contracting business for all inbound quote and appointment requests to increase your inbound lead to booked estimate ratio, whether that's in person or on the phone, and also increase your close rate for given quotes to actually have them be accepted and approved with a deposit down if you take deposits. So, why should you listen to me? My name is Steve Hunsaker. I'm the owner of the Home Service Accelerator. At the time of filming this video, we've helped 525 plus home service businesses get off of the agency teat and run their own Facebook and Instagram ads themselves, do their own Google Maps SEO, and fix the entire back ends of their systems of their business that are entirely related to sales and marketing. And I also own 2 home service businesses myself at the time of filming, so I'm not a marketing guy. I'm an actual home service guy turned marketing and salesperson, given the nature of the seasonality of my business. So let's begin. So I want to go over a few different things that factor into how you can increase your close rate ratio on every inbound lead. And the funny thing is, a lot of people think that what they really need to focus on is better ads and the new advertising vehicle. Maybe they're doing Facebook and they want to do Google, and they're doing Google pay-per-click and they want to do Google Guaranteed or Google LSA, or they're doing one of those and they want to do something else. The reality is a lot of the people watching this channel can actually benefit more from fixing their follow-up sequence and their actual communication with the prospects than just trying to go recreate a bunch of ads or find a different advertising unicorn that no one else has discovered yet. And so we're going to go over the frequency of texting, how you should message people, how often you should follow up, the time and duration between the follow-up. All of that's going to be in this video, but I want to make one thing clear. When I talk about frequency, you need to ask yourself as an owner when you're going through and watching this video and then setting these up for yourself. So as I'm going through the follow-up sequence in this video, some of you are going to watch it and you're going to get that little voice in your head or that little gut feeling where you're like, "Ooh, this feels like kind of annoying to the prospect. This feels like a little too much." Yeah, it's supposed to feel uncomfortable. And so you need to have the conversation with yourself and be brutally honest with yourself on whether you're being soft or not. Because your North Star of your business is, I want to sell more jobs and make more money from my business so I can grow it, make more money for my family, everything else, right? That's the North Star. What I am telling you in this video will help you do that. But what's going to happen is you're going to hear me say that we send 4 or 5 straight text messages unanswered if we don't get a response from prospects. And a lot of you are going to watch that and you're going to get uncomfortable and say, "That seems unprofessional. That's bad for my brand." And let me be really brutally honest with you. What brand are you trying to protect? Because the giant monster businesses all over the country are following up better than anybody else with a frequency and annoyance that would make a lot of people sick. So if you want proof, go opt into the biggest home service brand in your area. I'm talking go opt into the organic funnel of a plumbing company or an HVAC company that has 100 trucks on the road in your area, and watch how much they follow up with you. Watch how many times they text you, watch how many times they send you an email, watch how many times they call you, and the duration of how long that follow-up sequence happens, and then watch how many emails you get for the entirety of your existence after that. Success leaves clues, and the best companies in the world do it. Outside of home services, go opt into a mortgage company's website. Go opt into like bettermortgage.com or rocketmortgage.com and watch how much those businesses follow up with you. They don't care about being annoying. They care about getting a yes or no from you. And that's the thing that so many small home service and contracting businesses can't seem to wrap their minds around, because they're like, "Oh, I don't want to look unprofessional. I want to protect my brand." If I go to the local neighborhood Fry's in my target market and I ask 100 people who Valley Christmas lights are, I would imagine that probably more than half of them don't even know who we are. So I'm not trying to protect a brand, I'm trying to get more sales. And so if somebody opts into your website or your ad, they are telling you with their actions that they want a quote. Now, their interest level might be different. Some people opt in and they want an answer now. Some people opt in willy-nilly and they want an answer, but they're not like dying to get the job done or whatever else. And that is the sauce. And so the first thing we're going to talk about is frequency of follow-up. In my own business, this is what our inbound follow-up sequence is. The lead comes in through a Facebook ad. It comes in through my website. It comes in through a Google ad. It comes in through God knows wherever else. The second it comes in, my system immediately attempts to connect us via phone call. So the prospect puts in their first name, last name, email, zip code, all that jazz, what they want. Boom. The second they click submit, it goes into my system. And then my system is Snipey Lead. A lot of you guys see me talk about it on here. I'll put a link in it in the bottom. And my system will immediately go, okay, cool. Inbound lead comes in, new opportunity in the pipeline. And now it's going to immediately try to call them. And so the way the process works is I have it round robining to my salespeople. And so the second that lead gets submitted, let's take sales guy one is Kyle. His phone will ring the second that lead is submitted within business hours. And it says, hey, Kyle, you have a new lead. Press 1 to get connected via phone call. Kyle presses 1 on his phone. It immediately tries to call that customer, that prospect, and connect with him because speed to lead is everything. And so if we can be fast within a minute of them submitting and getting them an answer, then guess what they don't do as a prospect? They don't go to another competitor's website because they're getting an answer fast. Now, some people after your phone call might, but in the rules of hundreds and thousands, if you're fast, you will win at a substantially higher rate than people doing it manually. So if Kyle gets connected, he goes through his process, we go along from there. If the prospect does not answer, it goes into a nurture via text message and email follow-up sequence. And my nurture looks like this. If they don't answer that initial phone call, a voicemail gets auto-dropped that says, hi, this is Steve with Valley Lighting. Saw you reached out on our website for an estimate. Would love to get you guys dialed in. And then it says, feel free to call me back on this phone number or text me back and it'll get you started. Boom, voicemail drops. At the end of that voicemail, I also say, I'm going to send you a text message right now so you have my number handy. Something like that. I don't remember the exact verbiage. So now that prospect got a phone call, they didn't answer. They got a voicemail dropped automatically. It's a pre-recorded voicemail. And then they got an SMS. Now that prospect will be texted 4 more times over the next 3 days. And so yes, we will send 5 straight text messages without a response over the course of 3.5 days. And some of you guys might think that's crazy. I do not care. I care about sales. I care about getting an answer. I care about being the company that shows up and follows up and shows that our systems are dialed in. And so as far as frequency goes, you are probably not following up enough. And I've talked about this before. We had a $5,500 job that did not respond until the 5th text message drop. So we sent the first one, they got the voicemail, they got the phone call, didn't answer, they got the second text, they got the third text, they got the fourth text, and the 5th text says something like, I saw that you opted in on our website. I know we haven't been able to get a hold of you. Is this project something you want to do right now? I don't want to keep following up, but I just want to make sure you know we're ready for you. Boom, then she responds, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I've been so busy. We go out the next day, book a $5,500 job. Just like that. And I use that illustration because that difference between frequency of follow-up and getting out of your comfort zone and just putting it on the table and following up with them was a $5,500 difference. In your business, that's also going to happen. And the beauty of that is when you look at it over 100 inbound leads, if you have a system like this, or 1,000 inbound leads, the result is staggering. I go to conferences and talk about my close rate in my Christmas light business and my average ticket in my lighting business all the time. And everybody thinks I'm lying. I have to present Jobber. I have to present our P&Ls for people to be like, holy cow, this guy's doing the same business I am with double to triple or quadruple the average ticket. Like, that's not coincidence. Like, it's my systems are dialed. And when my system is dialed, you look at me and you look at all of my competitors. Like, who's gonna win? The person who follows up 5 or 6 times or 7 times or even more and then does manual follow-up after that via sales reps, or the company that calls once and leaves a voicemail and says, hey, get back to me when you're ready. Who's going to win out of 100 inbound leads or 1,000? I'm going to run circles around them. The tonality of your text messages and your follow-up, you can kind of tailor this to whatever your brand is, but I don't think it's a bad thing towards the end of the text message sequence to get a little bit more transparent with them. Like, hey, you reached out for a quote. I haven't been able to get a hold of you. I just want to make sure you know that we're ready. So if this project is not something that you want to work on right now, let me know. That tonality change tends to get people across the finish line after your follow-up and kind of puts a little bit of like human touch to the fact that you've been following up so much. And so the first one is like, hey, thanks so much for reaching out. The second one is like, all right, let me know if you need any help. I'm here. keep me posted. Third one is like kind of something like that. And then it keeps going down and down and down to where the last text message is, hey, I don't want to keep bothering you. You reached out. We haven't been able to get a hold of you. We're trying to do our part. Let me know if this is something you want to do. And this is text message, right? Outside of text message, we're obviously going to be calling them manually, like whatever else. But the beauty of Snipey Lead is there's a timeline for all of the leads that come in for the different stage of the business. So there's inbound lead, and then if they text back or they call back, they get automatically moved to the system to hot inbound lead. So when I get in the next morning or my sales reps get in the next morning, they call the hot inbound leads to set appointments first because they've got responses from them. And then they go to the inbound lead section and follow up with them first. So what that does, it allows you to focus on the best opportunities first and then move on further down. And so tonality is really important in this because you want to be friendly, you want to be nice, but you also want to be direct and firm with the fact that the prospect reached out to you and you are doing your part to follow up. Now, some companies go even further. I have talked to companies on this channel that used to send selfie videos in their follow-up sequence addressing the customer directly. So they would do my texting nurture, and then they would take it even a step further where they would send a selfie video. Hey, what's up, Tim? Saw you reached out. Haven't been able to get a hold of you. Just want to let you know that we're here and ready for you whenever you are. We blah, blah, blah. We do blah, blah, blah. Like that kind of follow-up with a video. So success leaves clues, and the best companies in the world follow up incessantly, and their tone is really dialed and friendly, but also firm. And that's the difference, is stop trying to make everybody happy and trying to be all cute and say, oh, they'll just get back to me when they're ready. Business is a competitive sport. If you do not follow up and you don't dial in your tonality of your follow-ups, someone else is going to do it and run circles around you. I see companies in my own market struggling as so many Christmas light and permanent lighting companies have come into the area in the last year. And guys who had a little bit of success in year 1 and 2 are floundering in year 3 as more competition is coming in. It has gotten harder in home services across the board. It is harder now just based on how many companies are doing this based on the last 5 years. And so these are the kind of tweaks that are uncomfortable, that the good businesses continue to thrive because they build systems, and the bad businesses that this kind of like willy-nilly follow-up might have worked 5 years ago just doesn't cut it anymore. And so the tonality of this is incredibly important, and we're going to move on to number 3 here. Before I start to break down 3, if you're interested, a lot of the time on this channel we talk about running ads, we talk about Facebook, we talk about Google Maps SEO, we talk about all of those things. If you want help on that, there's a link in the description to join Home Service Accelerator Pro. The YouTube is free, and the YouTube is amazing. If you want me and my team to actually come in and show you how to run Facebook and Instagram ads without an agency, show you how to set up your Google Maps SEO without an agency, dial in all of your sales and nurture and automation processes all yourself and dial it in with you and your team, and then also have access to a massive community of other home service business owners that all paid to get into a networking group. And so the quality of entrepreneur is extremely high versus the free Facebook groups. There's a link in the description to join Home Service Accelerator Pro. There's an application process. We don't let everybody in. So fill out that form if you want to join and talk to our team. It's right there. But let's get to number 3. And 3 is speed. I talk about speed so much on this channel. I'm not going to take a ton of time now. But if you don't have a system dialed in where the second the lead comes in, they get a text message, a phone call, a voicemail drop, you are cooked. And so I want to even take it a step further. Like, we're just now implementing Quo in our system as well. It used to be called Open Phone. And outside of business hours, when people used to just get sent to voicemail, we're actually implementing their AI voice calling feature as well. So if somebody does call at 9 p.m. and I don't have anybody staffed, the AI can take info, because you have to understand that the difference between AI answering and voicemail is, yes, during business hours, I don't want AI answering yet. The technology isn't there. But AI versus voicemail, we know the data on if a customer goes to voicemail. You're very rarely going to have them leave a voicemail, and they're probably just going to go fill out a form on 4 or 5 other people's websites. And so the difference in speed is having the Snipey lead or go high level or some type of texting and voicemail dropping feature to nurture your leads, combined with making sure that you answer your phones properly across the board and have something set up for inbound calls if you miss them. That type of speed to lead is a massive difference maker. I've shared this 1,000 times. I'll link in the video the presentation that I made at a conference a while ago talking about the difference between having speed to lead set up or not. This can be the difference of having a Facebook ad campaign be a 4 times return on your ad spend or ROAS, or a 6, 7, and 8. Like just speed, nothing else. Like same ads, same everything. Speed and follow up can make the identical advertising campaigns work 2, 3, 4 times better. I'm not kidding you. I've seen it 1,000 times. And most of the time I've seen when home service business owners say, well, Facebook ads don't work. I go in and look at their business and like, oh, what's your follow-up sequence with these leads? And they have this giant Excel file of leads that they just like randomly go in and call and hope they get a hold of the person with. Not going to work. And so speed plus follow-up plus tonality is an unbelievable cheat code to get more out of the ads you're already running. And number 4 is going to be the communication vehicle. And when I say vehicle, I mean different types of people respond and interact with different means of communication. So let's take 2 examples. There's the 75-year-old boomer who has a ton of money that hates text messaging, right? He can't even read his phone screen. That guy's going to want a phone call, right? Or maybe even some boomers email. God forbid, right? If you're under 30, you might have to send an email or two, or you can automate it. And so when I talk about vehicle, your nurture and automation sequence should use, at the bare minimum, voice call, voicemail drop, SMS, and then hit them into email as well. And so vehicle matters too. It's not just about follow-up sequence, it's about how people buy. And then also, I would challenge you, this isn't even really the topic of the video, but I also challenge you is how are you delivering quotes, right? Are you a remote quoting business that has just heard that other businesses in your industry do remote quoting and that's what you do, versus an in-person quoting business? And then maybe you could benefit from doing some remote quoting as well. And maybe you're driving around all over town. So I would ask you about like, what is your quote delivery vehicle as well, and look at your sales process there. So communication vehicle is very important. I recommend getting a phone system and a text message system that's owned by your business and not just operating on an iPhone or like Google Voice. I think most of the people watching this channel are past that, but vehicle matters. And so reaching people in the communication vehicle that they use is important. That's why we drop voicemails. That's why we phone call. That's why we follow up via phone call. That's why we send text messages, because different people interact with different ways. There are times in our funnel that the phone number given to us on our forms is a landline still. So the text message follow-ups aren't even getting received. And so if we're not doing voicemail drops, if we're not phone calling, if we're not email nurturing, then we're just cooked on that lead. And so it's all about meeting the customer where they're at. And that is why the good businesses use systems like Go High Level, Snipey Lead, anything like that, to reach people in the means of communication that they want to be reached at. And number 5 is the long game. And this is something that my business is actively building now. So when you look at our pipeline, there is a graveyard of leads that came into our funnel and we never got a hold of ever. We did all of the follow-up sequence, we got everything else, and we never got out for a quote, we never got a follow-up, whatever else. Are some of those leads duds? Absolutely. But trust me, they are not all duds. You have to understand that when you run advertising of any kind, people will opt in that are at a 1% interest level, but they will still opt in, right? And so maybe they don't even want the service for the next 6 months, but your ad converted them enough that they gave you your info, they wanted to see your landing page, they wanted to get more info from you, whatever else. And then the second you start calling them, they're like, I'm just not interested, right? But it doesn't mean they're not interested forever. And so when you look at my business, you can see that one of the things that's really interesting about our growth trajectory year over year is our organic started to outpace our paid in year 5, meaning we got last year 55% of our revenue came from organic means and email follow-up and different things like that, and then 45% came from paid ads. Because what happens is, what we do after we get that lead is we obviously nurture the lead and the things I just talked about. But after that, we like to send email campaigns constantly and set up email nurtures where they're getting emails maybe once every 2 weeks, every week, whatever else. And then occasionally sending even like a text message blast. For example, in my permanent lighting business, one thing we start doing in February and March is we will take every lead that came into our funnel during our busy season that didn't answer or get a quote, and send them a text message saying, hey, it's the off season now. If you want to get this done, we actually run some promos where we do this a little bit cheaper in the off season. And I will send text message nurtures to 500, 600, 700 people a day sometimes. And then it'll have a low take rate, like maybe 2%, right? But what's 2% of 500 people, right? That's activating a lot of business that you've already paid to generate the lead. And so when I talk about the long game, the thing you have to change in your mindset is the lead is not a dead lead because you didn't get an answer in the first week. The lead's not a dead lead because you didn't get an answer and book a job and close it in the second week or third week. Like, you are building this massive snowball of people's contact information in your area, and the businesses that win are the businesses that do something with all of that data long term. Because if they're opting in on your website, they are consenting to getting emails and text messages if you are set up correctly and compliantly. And so if they are opted in that way, you are building this massive mailing list, this massive email list, this massive SMS list. Go watch my interview with Evan from Coconut Cleaning on this channel. He is a massive upholstery and tile cleaning business in my market, multiple millions a year, and they send a weekly SMS to their entire book of business, whether they have done work with them or they haven't. Everybody that's opted in gets a weekly SMS. And he shares in that video the numbers behind how well that converts, and it is staggering. If you are not doing that, you are leaving a ton of money on the table. And so when I talk about the long game, it's what are you doing with the leads after the first week, after the first month, after the first 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. That's the difference. Because people just view ads as, oh, did I sell it or not this week? That's the wrong mindset. As a business, you have to understand that you are building this massive, massive, massive brand. And the brand goes into your email, the brand goes into your SMS nurture, the brand goes everywhere in your market, and you have to operate correctly on that. So thanks for watching. If you want to join Home Service Accelerator Pro, the link's going to be in the description, the link's going to be in the comments, or just keep consuming the YouTube channel here. Go follow me on X. I brain dump on there quite a bit, and then follow me on Instagram as well. If you like this video and you're consuming it for free, all I ask for you in return is just like the video, give me a comment, share it with a friend who also owns a home service business if you think it can help them, and I'll see you in the next video.